We have another candidate forum here today. We've been visiting with the different candidates running for House and Senate seats here locally in the St. Cloud metro area. And today we're talking to the two candidates running for House District 13A. We have Republican Lisa Demuth. Did I get that correct?
Demuth.
Demuth. Okay, Lisa Demuth is here, and she's the Republican in the race. And then Democrat is Jim Reed, who is also here with Jim. Good afternoon to you as well.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So let's talk a little bit about this district. First of all, House District 13A is the seat that's currently held by Republican Jeff Howe, who has decided to run for the state Senate instead. So it's an open seat, so neither one of you the incumbent in this race. Jeff won the race 2 years ago over Ann Buckfold, 66% to 34% as the Republican. So, Lisa, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about who you are. First of all, give us your background.
Thanks, Jim. It's good to be here. I thank you for the opportunity. My name is Lisa Demuth, and I am from Cold Spring, right outside of Cold Spring in Wakefield Township. Lived there for 20 years. I am married. I have 4 kids, 2 son-in-laws, and 3 grandchildren. Kind of a strong Rocori tradition where my grandchildren are now. 2 of them are attending there. My background a little bit is I've served on the Rocori School Board for 11 years. Is the end of my 3rd term. I actually won my first term as a write-in. And so that was a little bit unusual. And I've served and enjoyed that. It's been a great learning experience. Just felt about a year ago that I wasn't going to be seeking re-election. I didn't know what was going to be next, but I thought that I had a chance to serve our community. And that's given me a great opportunity to really learn to listen to the community and to try to make broader-based decisions. Outside of that, I own a commercial property with my husband. I'm right outside of Cold Spring, a rental building that we have. I have 4 tenants in there right now. I handle all of the property management for that. We are in the township, and so I have the chance to work with Department of Health, Department of Ag, township boards, and so a little bit broader that way. I also founded and own a mobile app called MyKin. It's a way to keep track of friends and family, birth dates, gift ideas, shopping lists, so you don't have to make those awkward phone calls when you can't remember what somebody really likes. And then I am also working with a women's organization that brings in conferences, both to St. Cloud coming up and then to Alexandria for single moms.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Jim Reed, talk a little bit about your background. Who are you?
So my name is Jim Reed. I live in Avon with my wife, Pia. We celebrated our 30th anniversary this year. For 30 years, I've also taught political science at the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University. So I teach young men and young women how our democracy works. I encourage them to be active, informed citizens. I'm currently writing a book about Abraham Lincoln, actually not so much in the last few months, but I've been working on Abraham Lincoln for a long time, who's somebody that I admire. I decided to run for office because I was troubled by how deeply divisive our politics has become. It's divisive not only in the halls of power, which is obvious to everyone, but those same divisions are in us as a people. And so I wanted to run for office in a way that set an example of trying to bridge those divisions and encouraging people to see one another as fellow citizens, even if they disagree in their politics. So I campaign by going door to door. I've been to more than 7,000 households so far. I say what my priorities are: healthcare, education. But I also ask the voter, what's important to you? What do you think would be good for our state and our community? And I want to get a conversation going. And the conversations in 49 out of 50 cases are civil. We don't always agree, but I think people like the personal visit. And so I look forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, you both come to this race, I would think, with unique perspectives. Lisa, back to you, serving on the school board, which of course is a nonpartisan position. Right. You have to solve things, as a group. So I'm sure certainly we all know that there's been challenges over the years at the Rocori School District. So talk a little bit about maybe how that experience you think will translate well to the state capitol.
Sure. With our history at Rocori, we are strong. Our goal is to be Central Minnesota's standard of excellence in education, and we're working really hard for that. With our history, we've had challenges, but if nothing, we are resilient. And I think that and the tradition of Rocori and being Rocori proud no matter what has has come to us really has allowed our community to pull together. What that's done for me, though, is when I was first on the school board, a lot of different interests come to you, parents and community members that are passionate about their area of interest. And it has forced me to step back and listen and try to make decisions based on what's going to be best for the entire district, the entire community, as opposed to just maybe a small segment. That alone is going to help me in St. Paul just have that listening ear and maybe step back. I'm not political. I've always said that I can be a representative, but I'm not traditionally political. And so with that background, just more community based, I think I can be that voice. You had asked how did we get into this position, both for Mr. Reed and myself. I received a phone call from Jeff Howe on Memorial Day as he was explaining what was happening, and he was going to be running for Senate. That's how I got into this race. Took 24 hours, talked to my friends or my family about it, and decided that was something that I would really like to pursue, that I felt like I had more to offer on a couple of different areas specifically, and then learning more broadly what District 13A represents.
All right. And Jim, I know before, in past elections, you have entertained the idea of running for Congress, right, at the federal level.
Yeah, I was actually for several months a candidate for the 6th District Congress, and at that point it was the government shutdown. Remember the government shutdown in fall of 2013 and the crisis over whether we were going to default on the debt. And I felt that I had something to say about that. I also ran for the legislature back in 1992 when I was in my early 30s, and went door to door as I did, as I'm doing this time. I ended up 98 votes short and going through a recount. So this year, every single person I talked to, I think that person could be the deciding vote in this race.
Yeah. All right, so Lisa said that Jeff Howe kind of reached out to her and said, hey, there's going to be this opening in this district. Why don't you consider taking it? How did you end up in this race?
Well, as I mentioned, I was troubled by the state of our democracy. That as somebody who teaches, it's part of my job to encourage young men and young women, my students, to see that they can disagree politically without being enemies. That's a difficult lesson sometimes to get across when so much of the world is sending such a different message. And I study American history. I said I'm writing a book about Abraham Lincoln. We are more divided politically now, more polarized now than at any time since the 1850s, and that didn't end well. So that really is what motivated me. People have asked me to run many times before, and I've said, well, I've got to write this book on Lincoln or whatever it was I was doing. And after the 2016 election, I thought, okay, I have something to say about this. I feel that I can set an example, and I know what it's like. I enjoy going door to door and talking to people. So I want to change the conversation. I have views on issues, healthcare, education, other things that we can get into, but it really was this concern about the character, the tone of our democracy, and how that can be improved and how we can restore civility.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get to some national and local news, and then we'll hear more from the two candidates coming up in the next half hour here on WJON.